It is my pleasure to introduce Will Christensen on the eve of his thesis reading. Will has been a student of mine since he was an undergraduate, and one of the most striking things I've always found about his writing is the ways that he can inhabit characters and settings, and the way he blends a really taut realism with a sense of magic and a sense of something that is beyond all of us. In his thesis, Will writes about a young woman and her desires and needs and fears to continue and to make this into the book that he dreams of. In many ways, the thesis is a reflection of both the magic and horror of living in the Central Valley. And I really appreciated the ways that Will highlighted those horrors and whimsical, magical moments. And I am so looking forward to hearing him read. I am so looking forward to seeing what Will does in the future with his writing. He's also a terrific short story writer, and I very much look forward to him sending these short stories out that he's written that contain a kind of maturity that is very rare in a young fiction writer. So help me welcome Will to his thesis defense.
Hey everyone. My name is Will. First, I would like to say thank you to my thesis committee, Randa Jarrar, Tanya Nichols, and Dr. Lisa Weston for their patience and their understanding. Also, thank you to Stephen Church and Jefferson Beavers for being so supportive and for all of the hard work they do in the program. Thank you to everyone I shared a workshop with. It was wonderful to learn from you all. God, did I learn a lot. And lastly, to my mom, my sister, and especially my sister's friends for reminding me what it's like to be a teenager. So I'm going to start reading the beginning of my novel, tentatively titled Sleep or Awake. It's a story about what it's like to be a Christian and also a teenager and to undergo an existential crisis in our current political and religious environment. It's a story primarily about discovery and healing and about how painful healing can be sometimes, but how worth it is in the end. It also has a death goddess in it, but unfortunately we won't be getting to her in this reading. Sorry about that. And also, unfortunately, I can't help but stop on an awkward spot from where we're going, so sorry about that as well. Anyway. Haley flicked her lighter and held the tip of the jasmine incense to the flame until it smoldered and released wispy tendrils of gray smoke. She held the incense for a moment and watched the smoke float and curl in the air, whirling and bowing with the gentle push and pull of her breath, appearing almost like shifting cracks in the air. But then the oscillating fan turned back in her direction and scattered the scent, the smoke, and the small sense of wonder that she had found in its transience. She sighed, hung the stick upside down in a recycled wine bottle, and sat down at her desk to plan how she was going to get God to talk to her. Even though it was night, and she had just gotten out of the shower just a few minutes ago, she was still hot. It was like that during the summer in Fresno, and having a room that faced west made it worse, because it meant that her room got the longest exposure to the sun, and took that much longer to cool down. She wished she could run the air conditioner, but since her mom was the only one who was earning money right now, she was the only one who was allowed to touch the thermostat. Haley considered just sleeping in the living room like she did last summer, but the couch was not great for sustained sleep. She needed as much of that as she could get for what she wanted to do. Haley pulled a pen from the front pocket of her backpack and opened a pink composition notebook that she had been using to collect her thoughts and research. She turned to a blank page. Her hair, heavy and damp, fell in her face and blocked her view. She tied it back with a black hair tie, but glancing at the page found that she still couldn't see much of her work because her standing lamp, which she had thrown a dark shawl over in order to reduce her blue light exposure, didn't give her a whole lot of light to read by. Yeah, of course. Real smart there, Haley, she thought. She got up and moved the lamp from next to her bed closer to her desk, looked again at her notebook to see if she could see it better, moved the lamp a little closer, looked again, scooched the lamp just a little bit more, took one more look, and was satisfied. She sat down, took a small sip of water from a glass jar with a smear of gray-white residue where the label used to be, and wrote on the blank page, "Hopefully this works!" double question marks, followed by a series of bullet points for a list. The first item on the list was Youth Camp Playlist, which was made up of worship songs that they had sang at youth camp along with a few others that Haley loved. She had at first gone to youth camp when she was 11, and then again at 12 and 13 before coronavirus, and its subsequent strains forced it to close. It had reopened last year with the certainty that God and the staff would keep everyone from getting sick, but a bunch of kids ended up getting sick anyway. Grandma Claire wanted Haley to go, but she had faked a sprained ankle so that she had an excuse not to, which kind of regretted now. Maybe if I had gone, she thought, it might not be so hard to talk to God right now. Youth camp, especially the worship nights there, had been a place where Haley knew that she was going to feel God's presence. For others, regular Sunday service was fine, but it was at youth camp that Haley felt the power. She could go, they would do the altar call, and she would go up there with them, not because she needed saving, but because she wanted to be prayed over and be in the thick of the cloud, where everyone would be crying and shaking and declaring victory over their problems in Jesus' name. She missed that. She missed being able to feel that way. She missed being able to believe that declaring victory over her problems would make them go away. The next item on her list was morning devotionals. Where she had been a smaller, more bright-eyed Haley, she would wake up, get ready for school, read a few verses before her mom helped her into the car, and then she would read a few more verses on the way to school. When she was at youth camp, they would have morning devotionals in small groups, where the kids would fidget and read from the Bible, often flatly and mispronouncing at least one word per sentence, and Haley would wait her turn so she could read her portion perfectly, and the counselor would smile and give her a compliment like, "Excellent reading, Haley," or "You read the Word of God a lot, don't you? I can tell." And then she would answer with the purest pride on her face that she had read it cover to cover, twice. She never mentioned the nightmares, though, the nightmares that she had had ever since she'd finished it. She wondered if any of the counselors ever thought that she was being a tryhard or a little suck-up. She reminded herself that everyone there had also been a cringy little kid, and that was less comforting than she had wanted it to be. Next on the list was fasting, OMAD, every day. She considered crossing it out after she had written it, though. This was going to be hard enough without also struggling with hunger for most of the day. But she knew how important it was to get the effect that she wanted. Her old youth pastor, James, had told her when she joined the youth leadership team that everyone should aim for one day of fasting a week where you eat nothing and drink nothing but water during the day, and then you have one meal with water at night. Of course, there were exceptions. He told her not to fast if she was sick or injured, or if she had a lot to do on a particular day, and to mind how she was feeling while she was fasting. The idea was to challenge yourself, he said, not to burden yourself. But Haley wasn't thinking about burdens. She was thinking about the wild-haired prophets in the desert who prayed and fasted and called into the storm until it gave them an answer. While she didn't have a desert or any storms nearby, she did have a vivid dream life, and she had some ideas about what she might be able to accomplish with it. She was about to write "No touching yourself" when her phone screen burst into a white glare that split the warm, dim light around her desk. She winced and blinked her eyes, adjusting just enough to see who it was. "Mika, why though? I'm doing something here," Haley moaned to herself before swiping the green icon, putting the phone to her ear, and saying in a friendly tone, "Hey girl, what's up?" From the other end of the phone came a croaking, "You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?" Haley's brain stalled out while she was trying to think of what her best friend was getting at. "No?" Mika giggled. "Just kidding. So, the band's going out to find some research for some lyrics, and you should totally come with us and stuff. Haley sighed. "Mika, who let you have energy drinks again?" "Pfft, I don't need nobody to let me have shit," Mika said. "But, seriously, you should come with us." "I'm about to go to bed, Mika," Haley replied. "I got stuff I gotta do tomorrow." "Bitch, it's summer vacation. The fuck you gotta do tomorrow that's more important than hanging out with us?" Like, getting God to talk to me, is what Haley thought. But what she said was, "Yeah, that's what I thought," Mika said. "Now throw some clothes on and get out here." "Wait, what, you're already here?" Haley said, alarmed. "Oh, it's kind of hot out here, so maybe don't put on a lot," Mika said. "Oh, wait, actually, you should totally let me in. I gotta use your bathroom." Haley heard a car door opening and closing and Mika's heavy boots treading towards the house. Haley rolled her eyes. "Fine, be right there." "Love you, B," Mika said. "Love you too, B," Haley said and hung out. She looked at her phone, wishing that it had been on silent, or had been dead, or hadn't even existed at all. Why did you pick up Haley? She muttered to herself. This is important, and now you're not going to get to bed until like 2 in the morning. Why the frick did you do that? Stupid. You're so freaking stupid. Haley got to her feet and relaxed a little. It could have been an emergency, she replied to herself. Maybe she just wanted to talk. Maybe you don't have to be mad at her over some stupid crap, you know? Maybe? She stepped over the cord to her standing lamp, stretched between its outlet by her bed and the current place by her desk, and opened her bedroom door. The mirror, hanging from the back of it, reflected a torrent of orange light and brown shadows as it swung open. Haley eased the door closed behind her so that the mirror wouldn't rattle. Moving in the dark, she put a hand out and let the tips of her fingers glide over the hallway wall, turning where the wall terminated, and walked out into the living room, a huge rectangular space which had stairs leading up to the bedroom upstairs where her parents slept. Blackout curtains covered the glass back door and backyard view, shielding the house from the outside heat as well as the ambient lights of the neighborhood. A collection of tiny lights from kitchen appliances softened the dark with a speckled blue and silver, gentle silver rays. Haley stepped to the front door, illuminated through a half circle of glass by the porch light, took a precautionary peek through the peephole, and opened the door. Mika was a short brown girl with thick arms and wide hips. She wore matching emerald green glass earrings and a nose ring and was dressed in striped black and white shirt and cuffed denim shorts. She wore her hair in a long braid with green and purple tips tossed over her shoulder. She looked Haley up and down, pursed her lips, and said, "Ooh, cute pajamas." Haley looked down at herself and remembered that she was wearing her baby metal tee and her Jack Skellington pajama shorts, both of which had been gifts from Mika. "Oh," she said, and mentally stumbled over her lingering resentment, trying to come up with a suitable reply. "Thanks, I guess." Mika blinked once, her flirty demeanor deflated. There was a beat of silence between them before she said, can I get... "Oh, right, sorry," Haley said, and stepped aside so she can come in. The sound of Mika's boots scuffed through the dark into her bathroom, and Haley closed the door behind her. She sighed and figured that she should get changed. She physically couldn't tolerate the awkwardness of coming up for an excuse of why she couldn't go, since they were already here, which meant that she definitely had to go with them now. She walked back to her room, remembering to step over the stretched lamp cord, just a moment before she stumbled into it. She pulled the shawls off of the lamp, and it shed fluorescent light all over her room. She walked around her bed to get to her dressers, dug around in the jumbled mess of the drawers until she found a pair of shorts, a bra, and a pair of mismatched socks. Putting these on, she sat at her desk to put her shoes on and glanced at her open notebook, black pen resting in the crease of the pages. So this is skipping ahead just a little bit to where they come out to the car and meet the rest of the band. The two girls left the house and Haley locked up behind her. Mika's car was an old silver Honda Civic that her parents had gotten her for her 16th birthday. It had a rosary and an old cherry-scented car freshener hanging from the rearview mirror. The back window had a collection of band decal stickers: Metallica, Iron Maiden, Minor Threat, Linkin Park, Primus, and an Industrophallic Tool. There was an old IWW bumper sticker next to a new Extinction Rebellion sticker that read, "There is no Planet B." Haley walked around to the front seat only to find that Lynn was already sitting in it, scrolling on her phone. Lynn was a dark-skinned black girl who wore her hair in short, thick twists. She wore a Princess Mononoke shirt with a charcoal image of the famed character against a white background, a puka shell necklace, a denim skirt, and fishnets where some of the threads had snapped to make larger holes. She looked at Haley as Haley opened the door and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, did you want to sit here?" "Oh, no, you're fine. I'll just sit behind you," Haley said. "You sure?" Lynn asked. "Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks for offering, though," Haley said. She was about to close the door, but didn't want to make it seem like she was shutting it on her friend's face, so she just left it open and climbed into the seat behind her. Izzy was sitting in the back seat, also scrolling on his phone. He was a light-skinned Middle Eastern boy with shaggy curly hair, a dark, thick mustache and goatee. His thin frame was dominated by a huge denim battle vest decorated with band patches, pins, paper clips, and metal studs. At a glance, Haley could make out a System of a Down patch, a patch that had Trash Gang written on it in stylized lettering, and a set of 3 circles, which had an elephant, a donkey, and a swastika, in red circles with red lines through them. "Hey, Hales," Izzy said, as Haley climbed in. "How's it going?" "I'm good," Haley replied, buckling in and closing the passenger door. "How are you doing?" "I'm good. I saw my grandpa the other day," he said, his face lighting up. "He gave me this fucking sick patch and helped me sew it on." Izzy leaned forward and showed Haley his back patch. "Oh," Haley said, and took some time to admire the details. The patch depicted a titanic skeleton with a scythe and an hourglass holding a burning earth on his shoulders against a field of stars. Where the oceans should have been was barren gray rock, and smoke poured up from the globe into the cosmos. To the left of the smoldering planet, in spattered, dripping lettering, read, cattle decapitation. Nice, Haley replied. And the stitching's clean too. Yeah, he's fast too, Izzy said, sitting back. I shit you not, he's got a whole fucking closet of vests and jackets. What? Like, how big a closet? Haley said. Oh, I don't know, it's just like a closet, Izzy replied. He's made most of them, though some of them he got from his friends of his who have passed away. Oh my gosh, Haley said, that's so sad. It's kind of sad, Lynn said. My dad's got a closet for all his military shit. He's got a bunch of pictures of his dead friends set by this window, and they've been here so long they've been starting to get sun bleached. What's that? Haley asked. Sun bleached? Izzy asked. You don't know what sun bleached is? No. Haley replied, and thought, like, would I be asking if I did? Basically, sunlight wears shit out, Izzy said. Just like a sunburn, but instead it fries the colors of things. It makes it look like it got bleached by the sun. Ah, well, that makes sense, Haley said, trying and failing not to sound sarcastic. Then she thought about it for a second, picturing a table of pictures, friends in uniform set in the view of sunlight that they would never see again, by a friend of theirs, who would also never see them again. Only for that sunlight to slowly erase their colors and then their faces, and then it started to sink in. Holy crap, that is sad, she said. Wow, that's actually kind of upsetting. Okay, yep, that's a feeling I'm certainly feeling right now. Yeah, well, that's how it goes, Izzy pointed out. But it makes good grist for song lyrics. That's a good word, Haley said. Grist. I like that. 'Tis a good word indeed, Mika agreed. Thank you, Izzy smiled. I try. Oh, write that down, Hales, Mika exclaimed. We're out here looking for inspiration after all. Write that down. What, grist? Haley asked. No, all of it, Mika said. All of that feeling. The sun-bleached pictures, the closet of dead friends, that whole feeling. Whoa, Mika, Lynn said. It's their vests that are in the closet, not the friends. Unless the vests are made from their skin or some shit. Izzy shivered, and Mika howled with laughter. That would be awesome, she screamed. No, that would be horrible, Lynn laughed. No, look, hear me out, Mika said, gesturing with her hands. You make vests out of your friends, and you stitch their favorite bands to them, and then you take them to concerts with you. It's great! Oh my god, Mika! Haley exclaimed. If I die, nobody better let you near my body. Izzy and Lynn agreed, and Mika giggled. I'm just kidding, she smiled. You know I'm kidding, right? Yeah, of course, Lynn said. Sure, Mika, Haley said. I know you're kidding, Izzy said, because if you're not, I am for sure haunting your ass. He laughed and continued, like full-on Ju-on status. No cap. Swear to God, demons in your shower, and in your attic, and every fucking orifice. Well, I thought you didn't believe in that stuff, Izzy, Lynn said. Yeah, it'll be super impressive for an atheiist to come back with a bunch of demons in tow, Mika added. Bitch, don't try me, he laughed. I will find a way. If you think you could do better than Houdini, then go off. Mika shrugged. Wait, Houdini? What about him? Haley asked. Oh shit, you don't know about that? Izzy asked. Oh my god, is he really? She thought. No, I don't. Ooh, Mika exclaimed. Let me, I want to tell her. And unfortunately, that's where we have to end it, because I really don't want to take up too much time with everything else that's going to be included in this video. But thank you for listening. And I hope you enjoyed.